to Who Threw a Curve. So today, I think and guess, it's time to introduce myself. So by now you should know that my name is Robert Ruiz, but nobody knows who the hell is Robert Ruiz. So I'm gonna give you a small introduction. I had some people on Twitter who were just asking me like, who are you? And why am I reading your threads? The point is you're reading the threads, so that's kind of weird and that you question me after you read my threads. But I got you. I'm definitely gonna introduce myself. And again, my name is Robert Ruiz. So what do I know? Why should people listen to me? Truthfully, I don't know why people should listen to me, but they should. Born and raised in Brooklyn. Lived here all my life except for a small brief time I lived in Buffalo, New York. That was very interesting. What do I know? I graduated from Kingsborough College, which is in Brooklyn, in Sheepshead Bay. I also graduated, I got my associates there, and then I went on to graduate from Hunter College, got my bachelor's there. Education-wise, that's what that is. Pretty much, I don't want to say well-read. I guess, all-around read. I'm not an expert in anything, but I could talk about almost everything. All my life, I've been in business. I've been in business since I was about 17 to 18 years. No, lie. Wow. Yeah, I became assistant manager for a retail company back in the days. I think I was about 18, I got promoted. And at that point in time, I managed businesses all my life. There is no except. I've managed businesses all my life because I'm still currently managing, but now I own businesses as well. With that said, I ran retail, I ran even restaurants for a little bit, pretty much in my younger life. However, I spent most of my working and management career in the fitness industry. So I worked for several companies, smaller, and I just gradually got into bigger companies as it went on. My last company, I don't know if anybody recognizes Crunch. I worked for Crunch. My last position there was my last position there was I was a district manager for Buffalo, hence this is why I moved to Buffalo. What I was good at, definitely I was good at making money. So I don't know if you guys ever heard me say, I think on one podcast I referred to myself being an HR nightmare. So I was definitely an HR nightmare for them, but for Crunch, but I made the money. And hence they always look the other way. Why was I successful? People always ask me. I remember we went to meetings and other managers just asked me, why was I successful at what I did? How did I make all this money? I didn't really have an answer for them because something that I did or how I managed was unexplainable. I didn't really manage because when it came to managing, I was probably the worst manager in the world. However, what I definitely was a great leader. My management style was I was very passive aggressive. I found the best in everybody, and that's what I worked on. I never worked in their flaws. Their flaws are their flaws. By the time I changed their flaws, they either quit or I fired them. So I always worked on what they were strong at, and that's what I made them. If they were excellent at that, they were like the greatest in whatever their strengths were at when I got through with them. I to this day I can't explain how I get people to do things because they want to, not because I asked or because I said, because I'm the boss. No, people used to do things because they wanted to. They were happy to do things. I did share a lot of my bonuses. That's a different story. Maybe one day I'll do a whole business section on how to lead and how to, get people to do things because they want to, not because you said. And I currently own 2 businesses now, which I run. I do this, and I also work for another company as well. So I'm a very, very busy person, and now I'm doing podcasts. However, this is not my first podcast. We had a podcast. You guys briefly met Zach the last couple of segments we did. He was my last partner. He is my current partner now. We had a podcast. It wasn't visual. This one's visual. We had an audio, which was I think a little easier because all these faces that I like to make, sometimes they look weird. I watch myself. I'm like, what the hell was that face about? Hence, people like my faces though, because I just do some weird ass shit. But that's okay. That's just the way I speak. I speak with my hands because I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in two neighborhoods. I grew up in Park Slope and I grew up in Bensonhurst. So I talk with my hands because I was always around a lot of Italians. And this is, it's been like that all my life. However, we did have a podcast that was called Urban Thoughts. It was very successful in audio. We were on every major platform for the whole 2018. I was the villain, which I feel that I'm going to be the villain in this podcast as well. Why? Not because I like to be, maybe I do like that. Like, I think I like to be the villain. However, I do play both parts. A lot of times, I may not even believe in something that I'm talking about, but I'm going to defend it because before I get into why, if my partner or whoever I'm speaking with is in agreement with me, then why are we having a podcast? This podcast, I want people to experience both sides of a story. So if whoever I'm with, whether it be a host or co-host or even a guest, is agreeing with everything that I'm saying, I'm going to do a whole 360 and I'm going to flip on them and I'm going to go against even what I think. Why? Because people like controversy, and this is why you guys will watch my show. You watch the show because besides the controversy, we're definitely going to entertain you. Besides the serious topics that we speak about or going to speak about in the past and in the future, we're going to entertain you in the process. Why? I don't think that everything should be cut and dry. Media is full of that. Even though some topics are serious, you should have fun as well doing it. And I don't mind being the bad guy. So a lot of times you're going to see me, and you're going to see me in a segment that you're going to be like, damn, this guy's a hypocrite. No, I'm not a hypocrite. It's just that I got to make sure that I keep everybody watching us entertained. If I just have a whole panel that's just agreeing with me or I'm agreeing with them, then why are we having a podcast? Why are we even discussing anything? So a lot of times I'll defend the other side, even though I'm totally against the other side. Hence, in Urban Thoughts, which is popular, I was the bad guy. I got hate emails. I was called asshole, jerk, whatever. Name it. I agree. I am a jerk. I am an asshole at times. However, somebody got to be. And that's why people keep coming and listening. The funny shit is everybody hated me. And I have all this hate mail, but everybody tuned in. Zach, on the other part, very, very intelligent young man. He's the opposite most of the time of what I think and feel. He is, I guess, the balance between both of us, because sometimes my thoughts are way out there. And we're from two different age eras. So it's a great thing because a lot of times, like for instance, the last couple of segments we talk about hip hop. I don't know much about hip hop. The hip hop I know is the hip hop from my era, which was like Run DMC, LL Cool J. Do I listen to hip hop music? Yeah, but I'm not in tune with all the gossip and all the things that are going around in hip hop. So him being a young man he is, and very well versed in not only hip hop, but a lot of he's well versed in a lot of topics. And he's very articulate. So we together, we make a perfect team, and hence we were successful in Urban Thoughts. And I believe we're going to be very successful now. So with that said, I'm assuming that later on, I'll fill you in on more of my credentials. That was just a brief segment because a lot of people wondering, oh, who's this guy and why we even listen to him. I'm more of a businessman. However, I'm very self-educated. I read a lot, and I still read a lot. Unfortunately, I still read a lot, but fortunately, I listen to more audio stuff because I'm always on the run. I live in New York City, and basically right now I'm in my office in New York City, and we take the trains a lot. So during the train ride, I listen to audio books, audio podcasts, anything to do with audio. I sit down and listen to anything that's going to self-enhance me. What do I do? Somebody asked me, what do I do for a hobby or myself on my own time? Funny thing, I collect baseball cards, right? I've been collecting baseball since I was a kid. I still do. I sit down, I look at them, and I sort them out, and I put them in little plastics, and I look to see the value of my baseball cards. So that's where my my life has gotten me to. Besides making money on my businesses, as you can see, I have Central Ambition and Eclectic Urbanwear, both my businesses that I run every day. I email clients, I speak to clients, prospective buyers. So I'm a very busy person. On top, I work for another company as well. I work in the airline industry. So with that said, I hope I kind of filled that void on who am I, and going, in the future, you'll learn more about me. There's a lot of things in my life that if I just keep on a rant, I'll be here all day. I am an older gentleman, and well, I guess a gentleman, but I am older. And to fill up all that information, everybody's inquiring about who I am and what I am, it'll take me a whole lifetime. That'll be another lifetime. But with that said, I hope I filled in a little void for you guys who were inquiring on who am I. Thanks.